I want to go to the line to find Kaysia Kerr. Miss Kerr, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm not sure. Do I call you Mr. Barrett, Mr. Rebel? I'm very well, thank you.
You can't call me Lalibella. When I'm on radio, I'm Lalibella.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, madam. I was invited to somewhere on Tuesday where we had the launch of Parent Month.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very impressed to see all the topics that came out of the panel discussion and so forth. And also the labels that you had there was Reuniting the Village. We know, this morning we are talking about parenting on my program here. And we're talking about the village growing the children. Instead of, you know, parent can't have enough time and monitoring time to monitor the child or children. So it has to be everybody who is in the village. Tell us about the concept of reuniting the village.
Thank you. Well, I'll start right there. That at no time will a parent be always present where that child is. It's just not possible the way life is configured. And so the idea of reigniting the village is saying, listen, we have to stop and we have to decide where we want to go as a country.
Yes.
And I believe that where we have a country of accountability, where everybody looks out for the best interest of the child, we will have children growing up in ways that they will understand principles, they will understand how to conduct themselves, but they will also thrive and will be able to bring out the best talents, the best gifts that they have so that they can fulfill their potential. So the idea behind Reignite the Village is to say all persons need to get involved in the child rearing process, whether you are
a parent
or not.
Yes.
That whether you are the shopkeeper, the person at the bar, the person who runs the taxi, the best interest, the well-being of children
because
the village is your responsibility and it should be your business. Yes.
Ms. Kerr, there is a alarming survey that came out, shows that over 800 and odd young children committed crime since the year start, from murder to rape to all manner of things. 800 and odd. I'm saying that where is the parent?
Right, and the truth is these are behaviors that we're responding to that seem alarming. The data isn't new. It's just that it might have jarred us because the last 2 years perhaps we're concentrating on other things over the last 2 years.
Yes, so, the pandemic.
Right, so the data would be a little jarring for us now, but I am more concerned about the antecedent, the behaviors that led us here. What signs did we see? What were the children experiencing? Why this is the behavior that they're exhibiting?
Right.
What was happening in the community, at the home, the school level?
Right.
Even in the church, or what was not happening? And because behaviors are triggered by something, there's something else that's missing. And for me, it is a desperate cry for help. When a youngster is going to feel it necessary and has no qualm, there's no braking system, no value system in place, nothing about his propensity that tells him that taking up a firearm and killing somebody or whatever other deadly weapon is used is something that is antisocial and shouldn't happen. The fact that we're here tells me that there's something that went on before. Something is lacking, and that's what we are trying to fix. We're trying to get to the antecedent. What has got us?
Well, I think maybe we didn't teach our children enough about emotional intelligence because they are angry, and anger is an emotion, but violence is a behavior. So if they can control their emotions in a way where they don't make it become violent, it will be good. You know what I mean?
Well, I would want to say if they get an opportunity to channel those emotions, because anger is an important emotion.
Yes.
It's how that is expressed.
Yes.
That's a problem.
Right.
So if we get the opportunity to channel, to voice in a psychologically safe space, to say, I don't like this, or I'm upset about this, I'm feeling angry about it.
All right, the alternative.
For that.
Or make the alternative that they would like.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. The environment has to be safe for children to express how they're feeling. And sometimes children don't have the vocabulary to express what they're feeling. In Jamaica, we use the word bad to describe myriad things. You know, your stomach is upset, you say you feel bad. You're angry, you say you feel bad. We don't always have the vocabulary.
No, man, and if something look good, we say, hey, that body.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So because we have conflicting meanings and we don't always have the vocabulary, meaning our children, then we act out because we don't know how to express it. And so we demonstrate to show exactly how we feel. But why are we not creating the environment where children can say, look, this thing that you've done, you have wronged me,
yes,
and I'm upset about it, or I don't believe that this is what I should be doing? Because there has to be a space for them to say that. And then as a parent, you get an opportunity to explain, because they're people too.
Right.
And that word no is a very important word that children, especially at a young age, need to know and need to be able in a safe space to say. When you suppress their thoughts, when you speak down to them, when you hurl curse words, you affect their whole system of self.
Yes.
Whether it's their self-concept, their
self-worth, self-esteem,
self-image, self-esteem, all of it is affected, and then you get what we're seeing now.
But Kaysia, you have created a form that is working where you train parents to become better parents. Tell us about that. The Supporting Commission.
Certainly. So one of the things I really genuinely like about the commission is that we're not punitive.
Yes.
We are not here to beat up on parents.
Yes.
We sometimes have to condemn what they do, for sure.
Their action, not them.
Their actions, not them. So we take the what's happening with the parent. And having listened to you, we do a risk assessment, and then we decide what it is that you need together, because we're not here to impose anything on you. When we talk about intervention, you have to first see the need. You have to see and recognize and then accept that something is wrong, and then you want to change your behavior. So we have a suite of programs. We have the flagship program that we call Parent Mentorship. It's the most intensive training. It lasts for 13 weeks. There are 10 modules.
13 weeks. How much a day? How much days out of the week?
It runs Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 5 p.m. till they say when. We usually say from 5 to 8, but that has not been our reality.
Yes.
Because once parents get into the space and they realize that, oh my God,
it's a safe
this
space.
is something I could need.
Yes,
and that too. This is something I really can use in my parenting. Then they tend to not want to let us go. So the sessions are supposed to run 3 hours for 3 days per week, but it sometimes goes beyond. And then we have partners. We have the National Council on Drug Abuse. We have Dispute Resolution Foundation. We have e-learning Jamaica Heart Trust NTA, who does 21st century parenting. It's a suite of modules we've put together. And we believe that after you've gone through that program, you'll be more effective in your practice. And then we have other programs for schools, one called The Parent Place, that there is no prerequisite. You just have to be a parent or even a prospective parent.
Right.
And you access the services of The Parent Place to include psychosocial and counseling support.
Right.
And we offer you based on what you say you need. And we help you to be more effective.
So how is that program going? You have a lot of people who attend?
Well, the parent place has a roving component, meaning that whereas the place is a physical space attached to schools or communities, given the fact that we had the pandemic for 2 years, many of those spaces in schools were repurposed for recovery rooms and so on. So we're actually doing an audit. But in the meantime, the program didn't die.
Right.
What we've been doing is taking the programs in the streets to the people.
Yes, that is
we're
where it
actually
needed.
taking the programs in the communities. And that goes very well because it's like an introduction to the commission too. And then once they get into the program, then they opt for the different services depending on what our risk assessment tells us about what they need. The commission's work is not meant to be quiet, but you can imagine that when you're dealing with serious issues sometimes with parents, there's a kind of sensitivity that has to surround them.
Well, the commission work is not meant to be quiet. It's not quiet anymore. We're on the bridge now. And we're talking about it. And so everybody must know that there are help out there. There are help if you find out that parenting is getting very much difficult for you and the village is not complying, is not helping you. There are something that you can do.
And this is why programs like these, and I so appreciate your having me on, programs like these are important because when we build the awareness, we drive the demand. Just yesterday, coming out of the launch, we had a walk-in, a parent coming in to say, look, I got pregnant at 16 and I'm really stressed.
Yes.
And we were able to calm her down first, and then we brought her immediately into counseling. So to work through those issues that she was having. So the more we sensitize people of the services, that's the better. At no cost.
It's the better. But Kaysia.
Absolutely. And you would have heard, Tony, that just sitting there at the launch, we have good things to tell people, and that things are well researched, right?
Yes. I noticed that very much. I was there before I performed, and I was there after, and I learned a lot. I want to talk about parents who are not capable. They are not capable of their own responsibility because of a colonial effect that is on them now. They are here in the midst of nowhere, yet they have children to look after. You know what I mean? How is it that they are going to be care for themselves and care for children?
Well, you're absolutely right. The remnants of colonialism, which really was a part of the conversation on Tuesday, are real. Many of us, we can't even identify who we are. We are nameless, and we can't even trace our own lineage, and that does affect you when you don't know who you are, Right. And when you don't know who you are and you go searching, and as a result of that search, you are with the child and you carry that child maybe in a cyclical situation because that child ends up not knowing who his or her father is. It becomes a problem. Right. And it does affect the way you go about nurturing your children. But, even with those circumstances, there's help at the commission. Because we take you through a process called self-reflection. And we look at all the situations in your past that might have brought you to this space.
Right.
And then we give you tools to start treating with those situations.
Right.
It's a safe space to also express past hurts. And sometimes you need to purge before you can move on.
You have to purge. You have to purge and know yourself before you can know anything about any other. And the commission is there, not saying that he will erase everything, but you will actually reduce it. You can reduce it to make life even better for the parent.
Once we treat with those traumatic situations, then people become more open to the intervention. And even as we're intervening, we're responding to needs because the intervention has a response component. In other words, whatever we put on paper to say we're going to implement and try, we have to respond to that so that in areas that we need to tweak, we tweak as well. it's very individualized. And once we take it through that self-reflection process, then we talk about the hurt. We move to how can we now work to repair those hurts. And once that is done, then you're in a better position to start parent, because many times you're passing on the hurt to your child without even recognizing that you're doing so.
Exactly. So the community is filled with resources, and it is there, it is accessible. It's just for us to access it right now.
Absolutely.
Yes. Wow.
The community is resource rich. And that's why we're saying know your village, because we need you to know all the people in the village. There are people in the village whose behaviors might be falling short of what we expect, but there are resources there that can help you to process through your own hurts that you're passing on to other people in the village, so that we can have the healthy village where everybody can live in harmony, peaceably. So resources to include the school.
So the people who live in our community and don't know him next door neighbor, you have to know your next door neighbor. You must know who drives what in the area. You must know who lives where, and you must also know their occupation and what they're capable of. You know what I mean? Use up all the resources in the village, because the village is what we use to grow our children. That's the old African tradition, and 90% of we in Jamaica here are Africans. So we need to reignite that concept.
For sure. And we also know each other. You know, the moment we start talking to each other, then we're realizing the areas where we connect. And when we have that kind of consensus, that's a force to say, oh, but I believe this is my belief system too. And this is a good belief system.
And then you join it together and work miracles.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And we're not saying it because we want to a utopian society. We're real people. We've had a society before where the village operated very well. And I believe that with intentional effort and good action, we can get back there. I don't believe that all is lost.
No. All is not lost at all. And the commission, the National Supporting Commission, we're not saying it is the panacea to all our problems, but it will help. And we have to start somewhere. It's a journey, and it begins with a single step. We now into crisis. It's a crisis proportion now. So we have to find some ways and means and get ourselves out of this doldrum that we are in. And one of the things is that parenting, good parenting, will help us to achieve that, because the children are the future, and when we get old and we can't move around again, they are the ones who will be here. So if we train them in the right way, when they grow up, they will not depart from it.
Well said.
Yes.
I endorse that totally.
Yes.
And certainly this is the time, this is the moment. One of the things I believe that came out of that launch on Tuesday was the fact that I got so many calls with people saying to me, I'm inspired. There were people who were reflecting. One lady said to me, I was taking my son to KC and I saw 2 boys on the road, and it was clear to me they should have been in school, and I never stopped. I feel badly because I should have stopped. I should have found out why. I should have asked. So the fact that people are inspired, they're reignited now to take on the challenges of the village, that's what we want. Because you're right, the National Parenting Support Commission, is great as we are, we can't do it alone. And we prefer when we have everybody involved, because then we can celebrate together.
Yes. Kaysia Kerr, CEO of the National Parenting Supporting Commission. We thank you very much, madam, and thank you for inviting me the other day. I enjoyed myself, and I hope the message will reach far and wide across the bridge.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes,
thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
All right, bye now.
Yes, sir.